Behringer and Cannon School Chess Club students. This is your coach, National Master Peter Giannatos, bringing you another lecture on checkmates. This lecture is on the Queen and King checkmate. The Queen and King checkmate is a checkmate you will see very often at scholastic competitions and is a checkmate you must know how to do and will win you many points. Now, in this simple example, the Black King is already on the side of the board. Like the Rook checkmates and other checkmates, it is important to keep the King on the side of the board. Can you see a move for White that does just that? Take a second to figure it out. Hopefully the move you chose was Queen to h7. Notice that the Queen on h7 cuts off the 7th rank, not allowing the King to run for the center. The Queen also makes a rectangular box you can see drawn by the green arrows. The King has to stay inside that box. Let's suppose the King moves to d8. Do you see a way we could make that rectangular box smaller? Take a second and figure it out. Hopefully the move you chose was Queen to f7, making the rectangular box smaller and forcing the Black King closer to the corner. Black is forced to play the move King to c8. Continue to make the rectangle smaller. Find the next move. Hopefully the move you chose was Queen to e7, making the rectangle smaller, forcing the King toward the corner. The King is forced to play the move King b8. We can make the rectangle even smaller. Find the move. I hope you found the move Queen to d7, making the rectangle smaller, forcing the Black King into the corner. Black is forced to play the move King a8. This is the most tricky part of the Queen and King checkmate. The question is, do we make the rectangle smaller by playing the move Queen to c7? Take a few seconds to figure out whether Queen c7 would be a good move or not. Hopefully you realize that the move Queen c7 would actually be a mistake. While Queen c7 makes the rectangle smaller, it doesn't allow the King a safe place to move and yet doesn't attack the King. When a King is not under attack and there are no other pieces on the board and he has no safe place to go, this is a stalemate. The King on a8 is not under attack, Black has no other pieces to move, and White has not given him a safe place to go. This is stalemate, as Black cannot break the rules of chess and put his own king in danger. A better move for White, instead of Queen c7, would be to march the King in so the King can help the Queen checkmate Black. So, let's play the move King b2, marching the King closer to Black. All Black can really do is go back and forth to the b8 square while we march our King in. We continue to march our King in. Black has to toggle between the b8 and a8 squares. We continue to march our King in. Finally, we get our King into striking distance. Black has only one move here, King to b8. There are several checkmates here that you could implement as White. Can you find one of them? Take some time to figure it out. There are several checkmates in this position. My favorite is Queen to b7. I love putting my powerful pieces in the face of the enemy, especially in this case. The White King is helping the black queen out. We call this helper's mate. Black's king cannot capture the white queen, as we would then capture the black king back, which is illegal. The king can never leave the chessboard. In this case, it is checkmate, as black has no safe place to go and he is under attack. Other checkmates, though not as impressive, are queen to d8, attacking the king on the back rank. Our king stops him from moving forward, and queen e8, which is very similar to queen d8, attacking the king on the back rank. These both lead to checkmate, but again, I can't stress that my favorite is queen to b7, putting our most powerful piece in the face of the enemy. Being that our king is helping us out, he cannot capture our queen, and the king has no safe place to go. This is checkmate. Now, that was the first example where the king was on the side of the board. Do you think you could checkmate black if his king was in the center? Let's give it a try. Take this example, for instance. Black's king is in the center of the board. Now, do you see a way white can make a rectangle around black's king? Take a second to figure it out. Hopefully the move you chose was queen to c4, boxing the black king and forcing him closer to a side of the board. Black has several options here, all of which allow us to make the rectangle smaller. Let's consider the move king f5. If the king moves to f5, spot the move for white that continues to make the box smaller. Take a second and figure it out. Hopefully the move you chose was queen to d4, continuing to make the box smaller, forcing the king closer to a side of the board. Black again has several moves. Let's suppose he plays the move king to e6. Once again, I would like you to spot the move for white that contains the black king and makes the box smaller. I hope you chose the move queen to c5, making the box smaller and smaller. The king, once again, has several moves. Let's consider the move king f6. Again, we need to make the rectangle smaller and smaller until we force the king to the side of the board. See if you can do it. I hope you chose the move queen to d5, making the box smaller and smaller, forcing the king closer to the side of the board. Let's consider the move king e7. Can you spot a move that makes the box smaller? I bet you can. That's right, queen c7, making the box smaller and smaller. Here, the king is forced closer to a side of the board. Let's suppose he plays the move king f7. Make the box smaller. You should be getting a little bit better at this, so we'll speed it up. That's right, the move queen d6 makes the box smaller and smaller. Now the king is forced closer to the corner. Let's suppose he plays the move king to g7. Again, making the box smaller with the move queen to e6. And now the king is forced to a side of the board. Let's say he plays the move king to h8. Now, here's the trick. You could play two moves, keeping the king on the side of the board, that make the rectangle very small. However, one leads to stalemate, one leads to the original position that we got in our first example. Can you spot the bad move that would lead to stalemate? Take a few seconds and figure it out. Hopefully you spotted that the move Queen f7 is an error, as this is a stalemate. White's queen is allowing black no safe place to move, but isn't actually attacking the black king. Because we can't break the rules of chess and move our own king into danger, this is a stalemate, and that would lead to a tie game or a draw. Something we wouldn't want when we're up a queen. So let's take it back. Find the best move now. Take a few seconds to figure it out. That's right. Not queen f7, but queen e7, making the rectangle very small, but allowing the king the g8 square, a safe place to move so that it's not stalemate and we have time to march our king in. Now, while black toggles between the g8 and h8 squares, we will march our king in, like this. Notice, black has no safe place to go but back to the corner. We continue to march our king in so that we can get closer and closer to the helper's mate we saw in the first example. King must toggle back and forth while we march our king in and await his fate. Finally, we have marched our king in. The king is forced back to the corner. Now, there are 4 different checkmates. The one I like the most, or the 2 that I like the most, are putting our most powerful piece in the face of the enemy. Can you find those 2? Take a few seconds to figure them out. Hopefully, the 2 helpers mates you found were the moves queen to h7, placing the queen directly in front of the king. Remember, the black king cannot capture the queen, as it's protected by white's king. Because in the rules of chess you can never give your king away, this is checkmate. The other helper's mate was queen to g7, which also places the queen in the face of the black king. Once again, black cannot capture the queen because it's defended by white's king. That is helper's mate. White's king is helping the black queen. The other 2 checkmates, which are less impressive, are the moves queen to f8 checkmate, placing the queen slightly away from the black king, although because of the help of whites, the black king cannot move to a safe place, or the similar move queen to e8 leading to checkmate. I hope this video on the queen and king checkmate helps you win many games in the future. I look forward to seeing you this week at Chess Club. See you then, your coach, Peter Giannatos.